So now let's look at the C.O.P.S diamond of a non-profit organization. I have decided to focus on non-profit organizations because they need a lot of organizational improvement. In the case of a non-profit organization, the stakeholders are described in a slightly different language. So for customers, they are called beneficiaries or the beneficiary segment, and for other parties, we are more specific and we call them donors or sponsors. And then suppliers are usually referred to as partners. Another thing to note is that a non-profit organization inherently is a platform because they don't generate revenue, and their source of income is from donors, which they use to provide goods and services to beneficiaries. So they are inherently platforms. So in the case of a non-profit organization, we call the C.O.P.S diamond a shared value map. Like in any case, when you're using the C.O.P.S diamond or shared value map, you start with the pain of or delight of the beneficiaries and then formulate your mission statement. If you already have a mission statement, then you should check whether that satisfies the pain or delight being experienced by your beneficiaries. There should be compatibility between those two. And also, you must specify the context or the environment. Initially, when you are planning to improve the performance of an organization, you should look at the pipe relationship between the non-profit organization and its beneficiary. And then you should also look at the relationship between the non-profit organization and the sponsors, and the relationship between the non-profit organization and the partners. In the ideal case, all of these stakeholders would be linked so that you would have more work to do in terms of examining all relationships, especially inputs and outputs that are denoted by the arrows. And to be more specific, for each pipe or business model that is linear, you should look at the output that is delivered to the recipient. You should also look at the feedback that is generated, and you should also look at the channels and relationships that exist between the stakeholders. This goes for the pipe business model between the non-profit organization and the beneficiary, as well as the pipe business model between the non-profit organization and the donors. And you can see that input comes from the donors in terms of donations, and the non-profit organization has to provide value in terms of its mission and the impact that it generates for its beneficiaries. This is just a summary of the notation system of the C.O.P.S diamond or shared value map. To summarize, you have 4 categories of stakeholders: C for customers, O for other parties, P for provider, and S for suppliers. This is the general form of the C.O.P.S diamond. So there are 4 categories of stakeholders, and at each edge there is a stakeholder or who. And each line in the C.O.P.S diamond is described as a business model strip. Then at one end of the business model strip, you have got a value creator, and at the other end, you have got a value recipient. It's important to note that each business model strip or line can be expanded using tools such as the Total Happiness Canvas or the Community Happiness Canvas, or Business Model Canvas or the Lean Canvas. Another point that you should note is that a business model strip has got two opposing arrows. They are divergent in the sense that they point outward. So one big point to note is that every non-profit organization is a platform. That means that it's a two or a three-sided market. Now I'm going to present an example of a non-profit organization in Sierra Leone. And this exercise or example just deals with the documentation or description of the activity of that non-profit organization, which is called GMIN. So GMIN, for its beneficiaries, it focuses on young innovators and leaders, at the moment on school children. So it has relationships with schools and communities, and it has already identified the pain and delight of these people so that it has developed its own mission or job to be done. The mission of GMIN is as follows: to foster a generation of young innovators and leaders in Africa who tackle challenges affecting their communities through critical thinking and hands-on learning. Also, through use of the share valued through use of the shared value map, one must specify the context, which in this case they are operating in Sierra Leone, Kenya, and South Africa. So this is what the shared value map would look like, and you have the non-profit organization, which is GMIN. They have got resources, processes, and in their operation they incur cost and then they receive benefit or create impact. And we can look at the description of the business model strip or pipe model between the non-profit organization of GMIN and its beneficiaries. The programs which GMIN provides at the moment include in challenges and in labs and hack at home. So you can see that the pipe relationship between the non-profit organization of GMIN and the beneficiary details these elements so you can have an idea of how GMIN works with its beneficiaries. And we should not forget the channels and relationships which GMIN uses, which include schools and communities, face-to-face contact. This describes the business model strip or pipe model between GMIN and its donors. And to complete the description of its business model, we need to include its partners, which at the moment is an impressive list of partners and donors, and it includes the Clinton Global Initiative, the Segal Family Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, Autodesk, Lemelson Foundation, and a host of others. And GMIN distinguishes between community partners and placement partners, and they also collaborate with educational institutions, including the African Leadership Academy, TEDx, and the United World Colleges. So that takes us through the C.O.P.S diamond and how to use it. But in concluding, I would like to mention that each strip can be expanded into a block diagram, such as when one uses the community happiness canvas or the business model canvas or the lean canvas. So this is a general template of a community happiness canvas. So each strip can be expanded by focusing on 5 items of the community happiness canvas, which is at different levels. So it starts with the pain solving question, and you go through the pain, plan, do, review cycle by highlighting each item. In other words, you drill into the business model strip or pipe business model. So this one just shows community happiness canvas for the relationship for Jimin's beneficiary, and you can do another one for the donor, and you can do another one for the partner. So these are all the business models that you should consider. And this marks the end of the presentation, and I thank you for your attention.